Hi, everybody, and welcome to our humble office.
I'm Niecy.
And I'm Chad. This is the Niecy and Chad show where we, right now, we're reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 12. We're going through both episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah, sorry about last week, guys. Had some technical difficulties, but it worked out perfectly because we've managed to get all 5 weddings in, and we can talk about them all as a group, which is kind of cool.
So everybody's married now.
Everybody's married.
And so we're going to go through and just throw a few things around. If you don't mind, if you've got some comments you'd like to make, please do. And also subscribe to our channel. We'll be talking about a lot of things, marriage, not just Married at First Sight. So,
absolutely.
Anyway.
So this season our couples are Clara and Ryan,
Brianna and Vincent,
Virginia and Eric,
Paige and Chris,
and Haley and Jacob. So the first thing we want to talk about is fashion. Now, I don't know how much, well, he did have some notes. I was going to say, I don't know how much the guys feel about this, but, you know, the ladies are paying attention to this fashion thing, okay? Yep. So we want to talk about these looks, okay? So we're going to talk about who we felt were the best dressed bride and groom, and we'll talk about the worst dressed bride and groom as well.
So I guess we'll start with Haley. So, you know, she said that she had been a bridesmaid a lot of times.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know what? She looked beautiful. She really did. But it was a little too simple. I mean, she did look sophisticated. There was no wow factor, in my opinion. So, I mean, honestly, it would have made a perfect bridesmaid dress had it been a different color. Yep. Maybe, whatever. But, it was a pretty dress. It fit her beautifully. It was just so plain and simple that, I mean, come on now. Hopefully, you're only going to do this one time. So, I mean, bring it. This is the time to bring it,
we'll
right?
Have a good time with it, huh?
Yeah. But I really thought the best dressed bride was Brianna. I thought she looked gorgeous.
She was stunning. Yeah. You know, she's a tall girl, and she's got those eyes, and she looked great.
She looked great, and look, women are suckers for dresses with pockets. I mean, y'all probably don't know that, but I mean, so she had the cute neckline, she had the pockets, she had a nice little split going. She looked. My daughter keeps saying she looks just like Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog. So she was gorgeous. Yeah. So I vote Brianna as the best dressed bride.
You say women are crazy about dresses with
I don't know why, but we love pockets in a dress.
I'm going to write that down.
I'm not supposed to do that, am I? Yeah, we love pockets in a dress. We really do.
I'm going to write that down. So I think, you know, I'm a traditional guy, so I think the best dressed groom was the pilot.
Yeah, Eric. You know what? And I definitely think I thought Vincent looked good, even though we're not really into the snazzy, colorful jackets or whatever. I did think Vincent looked good, so I would say it was a tie between the two of them. But absolutely, Eric had a nice, clean cut, classic look. It definitely worked. Yeah.
So what do you think the worst bridal look was?
Now, in terms of dresses, I think all of the brides chose gorgeous dresses. Right. And for the most part, they were all beautiful brides. But let me tell you something. Virginia and the purple eyeshadow, like it was a bit much. I mean, you got to be careful with purple anyway, but I mean, she went for it. Yep. And when it wore off, she went back and did it again. So she definitely did it on purpose for whatever reason. It was a little bit much, but she was a gorgeous bride.
She was. You know, the thing about what they're doing is that they're doing this whole thing on television. So there's a lot of lights around, it's a lot hotter or warmer than it would normally be. And I got a feeling things started running and
well, you know, she was crying and drinking and drinking and crying.
She'd been drinking.
Yes.
She'd been drinking.
Oh my. But I mean, that purple, honestly, I mean, her look kind of fell apart as the evening wore on. Right. But when she did touch up the makeup, I mean, she could have told him, listen, I had enough purple to last a lifetime, okay?
Right.
But, yeah.
And by the way, we'd love to hear if you agree with us, so please put a comment in.
Absolutely.
So at this point, we're going to the worst groom look. So, you know, look, again, I'm a traditional conservative kind of guy. So, you know, the pants need to go all the way down. I'm wearing socks likely. I don't want a jacket that's so tight. I've got to, pull it together. I don't know. I think that Ryan's hair, between that...
He did not like Ryan's hair,
nope,
y'all.
Didn't like it. Didn't like the hair for Ryan. And Chris had on those little pants that stopped way up high.
Look, the man wore capri pants to his wedding.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay.
I guess that's the new thing, but they
guess.
were a little high and a little tight in the leg, okay?
I don't know. Made a guy wonder.
And then you add that to the fact that somebody here thinks that Vincent and Chris went shopping at Prince's yard sale to get their jackets.
Yep. If let me tell you something. If Ryan would have came out and said, "Ooh," I said, "Prince."
Lord. So, but worse, who do you think would have had the worst look? Honestly?
Chris.
You think Chris had the worst look? I didn't like his pants, but overall I thought it was a put together look. My problem, and it was really from the neck up, not because he's unattractive, but I guess Jacob doesn't shave on a routine basis, or maybe. But to me, it kind of looked like he had the 5 o'clock shadow going, and you add that to the hair, he really, honestly, kind of looked like they just drugged somebody off the street and threw a suit on him.
Right. It did. Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think I'm gonna withdraw my Chris and put Jacob in there.
Yeah, but not for lack of trying. And he seems like a great guy, but it didn't quite come together, especially as polished and put together as Haley looked. So, so that's what we think in terms of the fashion.
So, let's get down to the weddings now.
Let's talk chemistry, couples and chemistry.
The first one was Clara and Ryan. She's 27, he's 29.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so first things first. Guys, a woman's wedding is just about, it's probably the most memorable day in her life. Yep. And if there's a day that you are going to throw in your stuff, that's not the day, okay? You show up, you say, I do, you smile for the pictures. That's what you do. You don't throw curveballs on a woman's wedding day.
You have to wait till the anniversary, or at least to the 10th one. Right?
At least to the 10th one, exactly. Yeah, but so Ryan decided to throw a major curveball with this blindfold thing. What do you think of the blindfold thing?
I get it. He's young, and he's not that young, but maybe he hadn't been to a lot of weddings. So...
this was his idea of trying to create a level of intimacy between the two of them, since they didn't really have an opportunity to meet.
Right. There was enough pressure on these two already. Getting married the way they're getting married.
Exactly.
And the blindfold thing and you know what? The women wear the makeup. They don't... You ever been to church? At least I have. Mm-hmm. You go to church and someone's mom comes and hugs you, and now you got all of her makeup on your jacket, and she's got a big smudge on her face.
Right.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, and we know that she already had enough issues with the makeup, so she doesn't need the blindfold messing up the hair, messing up the makeup. Look, should I tell? This has nothing to do. Well, it's kind of similar, but I'm gonna tell my famous story of coming down the aisle. We're getting married.
Oh, right.
I'm coming down the aisle. Makeup was flawless, but I can't help it. I'm a crier, so I got tears coming down.
True story.
Member of the congregation steps into the aisle as I'm trying to get married, okay? She steps into the aisle, and she takes her tissue, and she wipes my tears. Okay, I guess it's a sweet gesture. It's the thought that counts, right? She wants me to take the tissue. Well, I don't want to carry tissue down the aisle, okay? So I wouldn't take the tissue. I want you to know this woman takes this tissue and tucks it into my bosom. So now she wants me to go down the aisle with tissue sticking out of my bosom.
By the way, I found the tissue later that evening.
He did not, because I took it and tossed it in the aisle and kept stepping, okay? But my point is, quit messing with these brides on their wedding day, man.
Right. Especially Clara, because one of the things she mentioned in her information was that she knows a lot of information about serial killers. So
Okay.
if he really pissed her off, she knows a lot of ways to get rid of him.
And they mentioned she likes to be in control. Every bride wants to be in control on her wedding day, but she likes to be in control, period. So yeah, Ryan, don't start stacking up brownie points in the wrong direction,
Don't
okay?
Don't do it. Bro.
Yeah. But overall, they seem to have good chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
So in Ryan's notes as he was getting ready to, get into the whole married at first sight thing, he mentioned that he wanted someone. He was hoping that the experts would match him with someone who would call him out on his crap, as he put it. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because one of the things she said in her vows was that she would call him out on his crap.
Yeah, and they both took note of that, so that's a good thing.
So careful what you wish for.
There you go. But they seem to be off to a good start.
One other thing about Ryan, then we'll move on, that could be concerning. So he's 29, and he says he's never said "I love you" to anyone.
Right.
So that's
And listen, I get not throwing it around,
I get
but
that.
at the same time, I don't. We've seen in past seasons where these people get hung up on this little 4-letter word, and it becomes an issue in the relationship because now their spouse has to wonder: do they love me? Are they, are they holding themselves back from falling in love? And listen, don't get married if you're not fully prepared to fall,
Because a statement like that suggests that he might hold back.
Exactly.
That might be his default. However, his wife that he just married revealed that her biggest fear in falling in love was not being loved back. So that's going to be something worth watching.
And you know what? She told him that. And instead of taking that opportunity to reassure her, he basically nodded. Not a good start.
Man, I'd have took her hand and kissed it and said, "Hey, standing where I am right now, breathing in it, whatever, something romantic, to be or not to be."
Yes, because this is the same guy. His wedding vows are all about how, before he met her, she was there for all of his most important moments in his life, which, honestly, for me, I know it sounds great in a book, in a romance novel, 50 Shades of whatever, but realistically, it's for me, it's a little immature, not immature, but it's a little, like head in the clouds kind of a thing. And this is the same person who won't say, "I love you." These things don't go together.
They don't go together, and it'll be something worth watching as the series goes on.
Absolutely.
So next is
Virginia and Eric. Y'all know Virginia tickles me.
Eric is 34. Virginia is 26. Significantly, well, maybe not crazy significantly, because I am significantly older than you. But he is a bit older than her.
Not a problem.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. It's really about, mindset. So that can work. But listen, Virginia and Eric are very different people, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric is, he's an Air Force pilot. He's also a commercial airline pilot. And I think he flies fighters in the Air Force, which is you got to go by the numbers, you go by the book. And he's a by the numbers kind of guy. That's what he's going to be. He's not going to be, because I think one of the things that Virginia talked about is how she likes to go out a lot. And
she's a party girl.
Yeah. And Eric's friend, one of Eric's friends, when he was talking to Virginia, mentioned, well, that's not going to be him.
Yeah. So, but in terms of attraction, they definitely, we'll put it this way, she's a cute girl.
She is.
So he was instantly attracted to her. He had mentioned to his friends that he wasn't sure, that he wasn't going to take any liberties in terms of the kiss. He was just going to keep it simple. But girlfriend went all in. She grabbed his head and pulled him in, and he liked it.
It's going to be a high time in the old campground tonight.
Yeah, so they definitely are attracted to one another.
Yeah.
So,
and he's a pretty conservative guy. So I understand him wanting to give the lady the decision to go forward or not go forward.
Absolutely.
And he didn't want to be a bull in a china shop. So I think that's a good thing. And she didn't let him down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She does like a little wine now.
She likes a little wine, and she raised a few eyebrows.
And a couple of shots. She likes a couple of shots.
Yes.
Oh, did I mention beer? She likes a couple beers too. Yeah.
So Virginia has a pastor drink she doesn't like.
Yeah. So she likes
time will tell if that becomes an issue because I think as long as they come together, if they meet somewhere in the middle, they'll be fine. But the most important thing right now is that there is a genuine attraction.
Right.
They both seem to like each other, and so they're off to a good start.
Yeah, genuine attraction is a good thing. If that catches on the right way, a lot of people will be willing to take a lot of things that they might have thought they wouldn't have taken. With the right kind of attraction going on, that kind of a connection going on with their mate. I hope that someone gave Eric the same advice that Vertus Manley gave us, right? Vertus Manley was our pastor her husband was our pastor.
She was the first lady,
when
yes.
we got married. Yes. And her advice to us was, keep people, she used a different word. Keep people out your business. And I hope that Eric's mom, who is a real conservative, kind of outspoken lady, she's been accustomed to having Eric's ear. And I believe Eric was the one that was married previously too, right?
Right.
Yeah. So she didn't want him to get hurt again. I'm hoping she'll stay out of it and let the two of them work it out.
Absolutely.
Anyway. All right.
Okay.
So next we come to Brianna, the best dressed bride, 28, and Vincent, 27. Who was a nicely dressed girl.
Yeah, so listen, Brianna and Vincent absolutely had an instant attraction to one another, which was a pleasant, not a surprise. I guess I'm not surprised because they are both attractive people. I will say Brianna is slowly becoming a little bit different of a person than I thought she was. Not necessarily a bad way, but I think my first impressions of her, based on her career and those initial interviews, she certainly seemed a little more conservative and a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe even keeled. I don't know. Buttoned up.
That's it.
Then she's turned out to be. Yeah, but but still seems like a great girl.
Brianna. Here's what's funny because she could see her groom since she wasn't wearing a blindfold. She could see him as she walked in. And one of the things she said that I thought was cute was, let's see, tall, check, a handsome, check. Nice beard, check. So she had her little checklist she was working on while she walked down the aisle to this total stranger to marry. That was kind of cute.
That was cute. And, once they met up, she definitely seemed supportive and impressed by his career, which we know is very important to him. And also, they seem to just have a lot of similar values. So
they did.
Yeah. So, it feels like it's going to be a good fit for them. Right now, like we said, I think a friend even mentioned an ex, and she was like, who? So, and I think Vincent's definitely committed to the process. They seem to hit it off. So, so far, so good for Brianna and Vincent.
So in regards to possible little things to look out for in the future, Vincent did mention that he wanted to be the opposite of his family. He wanted I guess he didn't have a good relationship with his father. And I can understand saying that you want to be the opposite, but I hope he doesn't let things creep up that would end him up in that same position. I think that many people, maybe not everyone, but many, perhaps even most, who have problems in their marriage, it didn't start with whatever the problem is we're about to end the marriage. It started way back there with something small. And that's what he has to be on the lookout for, those small little things.
Yeah. Absolutely, we all have goals and we all want to do as well as or better than our parents did in certain situations. Just want to be careful that doesn't become a hang up or it doesn't become so much your focus that you are more determined to work on that than to genuinely work on the relationship,
Because you're marrying an actual person who has feelings and has lived for all these years without even knowing you existed.
Right.
So there are gonna be some things that'll be different. You just have to learn how to work them out and not be afraid to lose. For example, if there's a decision that has to be made, and if you respect your wife, then you respect her intelligence. Her idea to handle this single problem may not be the same as mine, but because she's a smart woman, it's possible she could have come up with something that you didn't. That it's happened to us many times that way. She's always giving me new outlook on things, and I'm fine with going with her way because it works out so often. Probably more than my ideas work out. Anyway.
Well, he happened to marry a very smart wife. Right. No, I'm just kidding. But agreed. I mean, that's one of the reasons I married you, because I respect your opinion. Every now and then I gotta let you actually.
Right. Make one, right?
Yeah.
So next is Haley and Jacob. Now, we mentioned earlier that one of the other couples had a significant age difference, and but these two are 10 years. He's 10 years older than her, so that's even more significant than was the other one.
Right.
And you mentioned that he reminded you of a couple of the differences.
Well, Jacob is a little awkward, so little bit Henry-like, but not necessarily. I mean, he's like Henry in that he is a bit socially awkward, but I do feel like he comes out of his shell definitely a lot more than Henry, which is a good thing and a necessary thing. Yeah. Yeah, Henry didn't seem to be able to come out of his shell. He may be in a shell, but he seems to have the ability to leave it when he needs to. Right. And I don't even know if it's so much that he's in a shell as much as he's just socially awkward. Henry was awkward and he was closed off because of it. Jacob is just kind of like awkward. But how was their chemistry? That's what we're supposed to be talking about, is the chemistry.
Well, so Haley seemed a little uncertain. She seemed like she was trying to make an effort, but not really feeling it. And,
in fact, I think all of these brides felt the need to take a little drink before they came down the aisle. But Haley in particular, I mean, even I think at the door to the...
walking down the aisle.
Her father had to pass her his flask. So,
twice.
Yeah. So there were definitely some nerves involved. However, when she got down the aisle, I won't say that I saw any sparks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, neither of them looked like, oh snap, what did I do? So I guess that's a relatively good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, they've got to find a connection, and they need to. They don't have a lot of time to find it.
Right. I mean, the conversation seemed to go okay, but in other words, they were talking to one another, and nothing in particular stood out as, oh, did they say that or anything like that. Right. But it was just kind of like very much like being polite to somebody at the doctor's office.
Yeah. It's like when you have to work really hard, when you have to work up a sweat to be nice to someone, that shouldn't be a relationship.
Yeah, certainly not someone you just married.
Yeah.
It
kind of feels like that.
Yeah, but it still feels like they're both willing to put forth the effort, and that's the most important thing. Yep. But honestly, she seems a little bit like, okay, I'm going to get through this experiment, but she feels a little checked out.
Yeah.
So, but again, neither of them bailed. Yeah. Neither of them said anything so awkward that it was off-putting for the other. Right. So, yeah, we'll see.
It's really up to them. I mean, if you were dedicated to it and willing to fight for it, it can work.
Absolutely.
But it can also not work.
Absolutely. Anyway. So Paige and Chris.
Yep. Wow.
Wow, Paige and Chris.
Yeah.
So, first of all, Paige is all in. She absolutely feels like this was
ordained
by God, and she seems to feel really good about it. Yep. She didn't seem to have any issues when he came down the aisle, and of course there was the whole thing with the necklace. He sent her a necklace that had the infinity symbol on it.
Yep.
And just so happened that she had a tattoo on her wrist, I guess, of the infinity symbol.
And it was meaningful because she'd never seen her, she'd never seen him, they knew nothing about each other, and she felt like, oh, that's a sign.
That's a sign, and like great minds think alike. And they really do seem to have a lot of the same outlook on things, a lot of similar opinions and whatnot, but... So Chris gets down.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me say this. Okay, so I should have mentioned this before. I'm sorry, but Chris and Brianna both said the same thing, which I didn't like. It was very immature and very shallow, and that is this notion that I don't know how I'm going to feel if I'm not immediately attracted to my new spouse. Number one. You're the one who signed up to do this at first sight. And that means you agreed to trust the experts, okay? You didn't say, well, I'll trust them if the person looks like this, or I'll trust them if everything goes my way. I mean, this was really, I'm going to trust the experts. But, you know, if you're ready for marriage, you're ready for marriage. And I would hope that means that you're mature enough to look beyond outward appearances. So for both of them to say that, I was really disappointed to hear Brianna say it. Now, Chris, he got so many red flags at this point that nothing he says can surprise me, right?
For him, it was all about that bass.
Yeah, well, he surprises me when he acts right. But it doesn't surprise me when he acts up. So he, too, actually says, you know, if I'm not immediately attracted to my wife, it's probably, you know, that's going to be an issue. And I want you to know that this beautiful young woman walks out and this idiot cusses, okay?
Yeah. There are a lot of red flags when it comes to Chris. So he was engaged, less than 3 months ago, and just broke that.
I don't know if it was that recently, but it was. But it was recent.
Somewhere in the 3-month area, and he even had to have a tattoo with that girl's name.
Well, yeah, you're kind of skipping ahead but we're going to talk about all that. Well, but we are talking about chemistry. So the point, the what's really significant about all of that is the fact that within minutes of meeting his wife, he brings all of this up.
Yeah,
I mean. Yeah. You know, that's just crazy. So, but, you know, again, he says, okay, that's not what I'm used to. But at the same time, he was considerate at the altar.
Right.
You know, when she came down the aisle, he was pleasant. He complimented her dress. He complimented her smile. He did not immediately act like a jerk, but at the same time, you know, again, it was just a matter of time before he brings up the ex, before he showed her his tattoo. That's what happened. She mentioned to him the whole infinity symbol connection and asked if he had any tattoos. And he showed her his tattoo, which is, you know, he even got real sanctified and whatnot now. So the tattoo is a crown and a cross, I believe, you know, to represent King Jesus. But it just so happens that it's actually covering up the name of the ex-girlfriend. And he decided to admit that to her. And so that raised some eyebrows.
So speaking of the cross and the crown, are we going to talk about his special process he went through prior to marriage? Remember, he said he fasted?
Oh, my word. He said so many inappropriate things.
He said he fasted, including abstaining from masturbation. And I thought, okay, this guy.
He talked about so many inappropriate things on that. I mean, give the girl a chance to know you. So he brought up masturbation. He asked her if she was on contraception. He kept talking about the ex-girlfriend.
Still in the wedding dress, by the way.
Yeah. But at the same time, again, he did tell her she had a beautiful smile. Yeah. They did seem to have a lot of points of connection that they seemed to agree upon. And here's what I like about Paige. Paige saw every red flag. You know what I mean?
did.
Some women are so caught up in the fairy tale that they overlook a lot of things, and some of them get so caught up in the moment or whatever, and they feel like, okay, I'm gonna, maybe that wasn't what it was. But Paige made a point of saying, okay, I didn't like the fact that he's not making eye contact. Okay, I don't like the fact that he keeps bringing up the ex. Okay, I don't, so she is not, she's a smart girl. And I think he may have met his match. We'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But, even though Chris is not, but listen, some of y'all, I was going to say men, but it's not just men. But, some folks, if they get too academically smart, they have a hard time being, having any sense when it comes to interpersonal relationships. That really feels a little Chris-like. So he says a lot of stupid stuff. He's not trying to be stupid, y'all. It's just that, he only knows how to really make that brain work when it's talking about money, apparently.
Right.
And so I think Chris and Paige still may be able to work that out, as long as she understands who he is, and that's something she can live with and kind of redirect. I mean, I guess there's still some hope, but boy.
How did you feel about his dad's suggestions to?
Yeah, so we're going to get to the family too. So we're going to start with his family?
Might as well.
We might as well. We just started with his family.